Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now so that I can answer your questions. Hi, thank you for the love on Instagram. All right. Tonight I'm only focusing on questions. So put those questions in the comments. Hi there, Guraya. It's nice to see you. All right. So in the meantime, while you're putting your questions in the comments, I want to tell you how to get in touch with us. So you can go ahead. Hi there, official K Zaza. It's nice to see you. Hi there, Josiah. Nice to see you. All right, can I speak with you? Yes, give us a call and schedule time to talk to me. Yes, absolutely. But you have to call, you have to talk to the staff. The number is at the top of the comment section on TikTok. Uh, all right. Questions. Let's see if we have any questions. I'm here working as usual, trying to get cases out. But I want to hear your questions today. Hi there, Liz. This is a long time watcher. Thanks for watching. All right, for someone who is inside the US and wants to switch from F1 OPT to H1B, will there be a hold on the final adjudication being from one of the 75 countries? H1B is a non immigrant visa, so it is not included in the pause. However, keep in mind that Nigeria is also a part of the banned country, the 39 banned countries. That's where the hold is. So if you're going for a non-immigrant visa, that non-immigrant visa, you'll still be able to get it even if your country is on the 75 country list. Now, Nigeria has a partial ban, not a full ban. So they're only certain visas. They're only stopping certain visas. However, if you're in the United States right now, they're putting a hold on any benefits that could be granted right now for any citizens of those 39 banned countries. So that's a difference there. And then keep in mind, if you applied previously for, you applied for, you're in the H1B, you were selected, and now they're processing your case. Keep in mind that now, remember, they're going backwards again to do a special background checks. And you might very well be a part of that process, that new vetting process. So that's another thing. Where are you located? We're in Delray Beach, Florida. And you'll find our address, so you can go to the website. You'll see the address there. On Google, you'll see the address. You're in Houston. Well, hello there in Houston. Keep in mind that we can assist you no matter where you are. So we have a very robust system here at the firm where we work with clients all over the country. Can you answer my question, please? This is JB the Barber. If I can, let me see. Retype your question, because otherwise I have to scroll. Okay, I went for a visa interview today, but they just checked my documents and asked me to come back. So I'm not sure it depends on what kind of visa interview. Now with the immigrant visa, if you're on one of the citizens of one of the 75 countries, keep in mind they're not going to issue the final immigrant visa if you went for an immigrant visa. If it's a non-immigrant visa, I wouldn't. If they took your documents, did they tell you a decision? Did they tell you what they were going to do with it? I would have to know more to get more context. So, Is K1 affected for the 75 countries list? So the K1 is a non-immigrant visa, which means that it would not be included. So that's one way to get around this visa ban. If you have not been married already, you are planning on getting married, but no, this visa pause, immigrant visa pause came up, you're engaged, you can actually go for, and you're engaged to a US citizen, you can go for a K1 fiance visa. You can always give us a call and we can start working on the process once we determine you qualify. But the K1 is not included in the 75 country immigrant visa pause. Any update for Haitian citizens? So I'm thinking any update for Haitian. It says Haitian citizenship here, but I'm assuming this has to do with the ending of TPS. And right now it's before the Supreme Court. We should get a decision by June, early July. And I'm praying that it's going to be a decision on the side of humanity, allowing Haitian citizens extended TPS. But we will see. Traditionally, the Supreme Court has always sided with the president when it came to ending TPS. So we have to see, seeing that, uh, the decision to end TPS has been arbitrary. We have to see if that's going to give a different result in terms of the Supreme Court's decision. If a person if a person a letter for removal presiding, can that person leave on their own to go back home? Yes. So keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I can't give you personalized legal advice, but you're always free to leave. Absolutely. But talk to your attorney, make sure that you're making the right moves, that you're also, you know, um, finalizing certain documentation where needed in order and possibly getting voluntary departure. By the way, remember that's an option, and voluntary departure can allow you to um, leave on your own and be able to not have a deportation on your record, rather, and you would have the ability to apply to come back with voluntary departure. With deportation, you are barred for a certain number of years. I passed my citizenship interview on April 10th, and I just got an email that says case is still being processed by the USCIS. So it just basically means that it's still in process, still pending. And that can go on for a year, by the way. I filed I-130 since November 2024, and I haven't heard anything. Did you get the receipt notice? Is there anything I can do on my side? You're still within processing times. So, a case inquiry probably wouldn't be the best thing right now until you're outside of case processing times. But did you get the receipt notice? And then it also depends on what is this I-130 based on? Is it based on the being the immediate relative of a US citizen, or is it based on another type of category, like you're the parent of uh, an immigrant who's age 21 or older? In that case, the processing times for the I-130 is going to be different. Are they doing interviews for immigrant visas in Jamaica? So they're still doing interviews, but they're not issuing the decisions. So by all means, still move forward with providing documentation, especially when you're in touch with the NVC. Make sure you follow through with all of that, because they're still doing that. It's just that when they get to that final interview, they have to put a hold on the decision. Now, if your visa is being revoked, then you'd have to make sure you talk to an attorney to just understand what's going on further. Husband got 10-year perm green card in 2017. in interview at Juarez and he got I-130 and I-601 approved, I need to do 212. Oh, he has a perm bar. So usually when you have the perm bar, yes, you'd have to do the 212 as well. And then you do have to wait a certain period of time when they're outside of the US to be able to apply for that. So usually they have to be outside of the US for 10 years before you can apply for the permission to reapply for reentry. Thanks for sharing the live, Sasha. I appreciate it. Why does USCIS issue another conditional approval after paying the parole fee and requesting it again? I'm not sure. We'd have to understand fully the context here. Is there an issue for my husband to travel to Jamaica with green card? No legal issues. I'm a citizen. I don't know you, I wouldn't know you. I'm not your attorney. So I wouldn't be able to say, is there an issue? Um, you said no legal issues, yes, but oftentimes we make assumptions that everything is okay and something may not be okay. So this is where, get legal advice. Here's what I say though. You're a green card holder. Once you're a green card holder, and you have no concerns, nothing in your background, you don't have history with criminal offenses in the past, you don't have any past immigration violations that you could be flagged for, then traveling is generally a right that a green card holder can enjoy. But if there's something you're worried about, you need to talk to an attorney to make sure that traveling is going to be the best thing or maybe not the best thing right now. All right. Is it important to obtain an affidavit of support letter when petitioning for my immigrant wife? So, an affidavit of support, as in, so you have the affidavit of support that deals with actual income and making sure you meet the sufficient income for the application. Then you have the affidavit of support, basically, supporting the marriage. In that case, yeah, definitely. I would highly recommend you get letters from both sides of your family, from your side, from your immigrant spouse's side, at least two on each side, from people who know you that can describe the marriage and what they've observed as a bona fide marriage. He has nothing to be flagged for. So, Empress, I think you answered your own question. Then, if he has nothing to be flagged for, I think you're answering your own question. USCIS wasn't sure why another conditional approval was sent out. I'm not sure either. If they don't know, I surely don't know. Hi there, Sleepy. Thank you so much. How long does an I-90 take to process? So actually, we have been seeing varying results. But what I say again, I'm so tempted to tell you, but I don't want to talk about processing times because my processing times, the experiences we've had, maybe a different experience for you. And so go to the uscis.gov, go and look at the I-90 form processing times, and you'll get an idea of how long it takes. So the shortest time and the longest time. How long are I-601A is taking? 2.5 years right now. It's very frustrating. But as usual, don't take it from me. Go straight to the source, the people that control it. USCIS, go look at their processing times. A person's married and got a removal letter. Can they leave and wait for their paperwork outside of the US? That is a very loaded question. You're asking, if you're asking this on the live, whether they should leave and wait, and it comes down to a lot of facts here. If they got ordered removed, and now it's time to leave, you want to understand what comes next, if they have any rights. This is where you need to talk to us in a consultation so that we can break it down. It's very complex, and we have to understand fully the situation. So, for example, in the appointments that we have here, we ask very detail oriented questions about the situation in order to properly advise. Filed I-130 for spouse overseas in August 2025. What's the processing time? Go to uscis.gov, look at the I-130 form after clicking on the case processing times, and you'll see the longest time and the shortest time that it takes. Is your I-130 valid after years of approval but haven't gone ahead to proceed? Yes, it can be, absolutely, because some I-130s are approved and then it takes another 5 years to actually get through the rest of the process, so that it can be. I'm overseas. My US dad filed for me in 2019 as an adult now. I have a 1-year-old baby. What is my hope? So, parent a parent sponsoring you, if your parent can show that you are indeed their child, either legally adopted or biological, you have a good chance. I think what and no, if they sponsored you as the son or daughter of a US citizen age 21 or older, now you have your baby can be added to it because children get to go along in this category. The it's going to happen as long as you move forward with the process. It's just that you have to wait. The wait is, frustrating, but as long as you wait through the process, it's going to happen. Can someone with a green card travel outside of the United States without issue? Yes. Whether you can do that is going to depend on your particular facts. With green card holders, if you've had a past criminal offense, especially if you didn't disclose it at your last green card process where you were approved for the green card, if you've been outside of the US for more than 6 months in a year, you will be flagged, and your green card would be it would be at risk. So very important for you to make sure that you understand your specific risk level. I filed OPT February 17th and updated to premium processing last week. When do you think I will hear back? I wouldn't be able to tell you that. You can once again look at the case processing times to see when you would expect. How long is a K1 visa taking? So the K1 visa and the spouse visa are very similar in timelines. And so you can expect, now keep in mind, I'm just talking based on my own experience as an attorney here. But processing times, it differs based on what you have going on, what your case is, but at least a year and a half. Greetings to you. I'm planning on flying to Jamaica December on my advanced parole. Is it okay? Now, advanced parole is a lot where a green card holder is a permanent resident. They can travel. Advanced parole does not have the same level of privilege, even as the green card holders have. So you have to be careful. If you're outside of the United States on advanced parole and then you get a contrary decision in your adjustment of status application, you're outside of the US, they can actually deny you re-entry into the United States. So if you have a criminal background, if you have charges pending, that can stop you as well. So you have to be very careful with the advanced parole and understand your risk. I'm coming over to you, Instagram, and on YouTube, I see you. I'm coming over to you. Uh, Thanks so much for the love on TikTok. I really appreciate it. Tapping the screen does mean that other people get to see this live, and they get to see information that empowers them. So go ahead and tap the screen. Thank you. Can I adjust my status if my wife is a permanent resident and I entered on a tourist visa and I'm from the 75 countries? Yes. So if you're here, and it's the party date is current, you're currently here on a tourist visa, this can be an option. But I've seen so many people make mistakes in this category. So get in touch with us and let's talk and get started. One thing I do want to emphasize now, guys, is that the cases are not simple. No case is simple because of the way that the officers are reviewing these cases, and sometimes even what they're finding or accusing immigrants of, and the fact that their focus now is they're mainly focused on denying, trying to block applications. So you want to be on top of it. And usually, why I offer full representation of my clients through the entire process is because I am aware that immigration may have additional questions. Usually, they send it in the form of a request for evidence. And the thing about it is, the request for evidence, you have a limited time to respond, and some of it can be very intense. And with that limited time, if you don't respond on time, that's a denial. Keep in mind that you get the request for evidence or even a notice of intent to deny. It is not the end of the world. We have won notice of intent to deny before. We have won multiple requests for evidence. So it can be daunting, though, to the average person that's looking at a request for evidence. It can be overwhelming. And then furthermore, it can really sometimes even um, you question, because now the request for evidence, for example, for VAWA, the request for evidence that comes in, they're not even pinpointing what they necessarily want. They're asking for all the evidence all over again. And that can be confusing to a client. So this is where it's important to get an attorney from the start so that throughout your entire process, if something comes up, it can be dealt with. Oh, thanks so much for the love on TikTok. I appreciate it. I-130 petition approved after an interview. Do I have to do another interview when I apply for the green card? So adjustment of status could be the next interview. An adjustment of status, the I-130, they do look at admissibility issues, but they mainly look at relationship. On the I-485, they're focused on, are you admissible to be able to get a green card? So I'm not sure if that, usually they do I-130 and the I-485 together, but if they did it separately, then they may ask for an interview for the I-485. My father is in detention and was denied asylum today. Is it worth to appeal for BIA? I don't know the case personally, and of course, I'm not your attorney. But what I can say is, it's where you do have the ability to appeal, you can appeal it. And then, if that appeal doesn't work, you can even possibly go to the federal court. But you have to go before the BIA first before even going to the federal court. And the thing is, they just had a court decision that blocked the new rule that said that the BIA had to just blanket dismiss appeals. So a court did say that that was not lawful. And so, we're watching that as well. But in the meantime, follow every legal avenue that you have. Is it possible for someone with a C1D visa to get a permanent residence? It's possible, for example, through VAWA, through the T visa. It's absolutely possible. But this is where we need to talk to you and figure out what's going on in your particular situation so we can advise. My VAWA RFE is now 54 days since USCIS have received it and nothing. Should I be worried? Not really. That it can be even up to a year. I'm a citizen in the US. I want to apply for my brother and sister. What is the best way to do it? You submit an I-130 first. Keep in mind processing times is 14 at minimum 14 years. If you're in Mexico, for example, it's over 2 decades. Is a travel visa better to file before a K1 visa? Um, l- Give us a call and talk to us, because when it comes to deciding how, now um, getting a visa to come to the US to then become permanent is risky because they can see that as fraud. The K1 visa allows you to enter the country with that intention. So you first get the non-immigrant visa, then you enter, and then you enter with the requirement that within 90 days you're going to file the adjustment of status. It's 10 now on March 23rd, 2026. I did my biometrics for T visa. What's next? Usually it's going to be the work permit and the bona fide that is going to come next. All right. I'm on Instagram for right now. Um, okay. Thank you so much for being patient here on Instagram. I'm going to go through your questions. Will it go faster if you put in your paperwork if they use a lawyer or themselves? So the lawyer does not control processing times. However, where a lawyer can help make it faster is if someone where they can make it faster is the lawyer knows what they're doing. You choose a lawyer that knows what they're doing, they're going to put forward a case that's going to be solid. And because of that, the officer is going to make a quicker decision than if you did it by yourself. If you did it by yourself, then oftentimes, there are issues with the issues that can come up that create complications and delays. So that's going to be the difference. All right, let's see. I'm going to start at the top on Instagram. Thanks so much for the love on TikTok. I appreciate that. For someone who has answered that, please, how can I schedule a meeting with you? Give us a call at the office, and the office will definitely help you to schedule that. My schedule is filling up, so guys, get on it so that we can talk to you about what's going on and get started ASAP. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, the color is nice, right? Someone has a pending case with USCIS and his wife filed for divorce. Um, if if they have a pending case with USCIS and the wife files for divorce, we need to talk to you. There are other options, but we need to figure out if they qualify for that option to apply on their own. So this is urgent at this point, because if they get called into the interview and they go to the interview without the spouse, then those officers are not going to ask questions or try to be understanding. They're just going to make a decision. So it's important for you to make sure that you protect yourself by applying for the appropriate relief that will allow you to apply on your own. So this is where you give us a call ASAP to get started. Can someone get asylum if they came to America when they got deported before and they came back without anyone knowing? That's a complex situation. First, we'd have, because asylum isn't just something that they give to anybody. You do have to make sure that you don't have, a criminal record or a major criminal record in order to get asylum. And sometimes people get deported for major violations or offenses. So this is going to definitely take an evaluation. Someone has a pending I-751 case and his wife filed for divorce. What should he do? So do not fear, but what I say is act very quickly and call us. The first thing is there is a waiver based on divorce, and then also we are there other circumstances like is the spouse mistreating them. If the spouse is mistreating them, that's another waiver, and you can apply for multiple waivers to be considered in order and apply on your own. Why are driver's licenses and green card renewals taking so long these days? Yes, it's very frustrating. Processing times have gotten longer mainly because of the extra vetting that they're doing. So, they announced that they're pushing even cases that are approvable, they're pushing them backwards to go back through a more expansive FBI background check. That's the latest. So that's basically another delay, another kind of pause in the system because they're talking about pushing back millions of cases, and the system is backlogged by millions of cases. Then in addition to that, they're now doing extreme vetting, so social media, for example, social platforms, internet searches, they're doing the whole shebang, and that is going to take extra time for staff to do for each applicant. Then we have the pause on citizens of the 39 countries. So, processing times are getting longer for immigration benefits. And that's exactly how they want it to be. But what I want you to know is do not let it stop you from submitting I know it feels impossible, but if you make a decision not to submit an application that you qualify for, you could actually be making things worse for yourself in the future. When this is over, because I have faith that this will come to an end and we'll see brighter days. When you have your application in, that means that you would be in the running to continue and possibly get your benefit quickly after that. But if you don't apply and you age out or some other deadline, like for example in VAWA, if you are divorced, you have 2 years to apply for VAWA. And if you're sitting there saying, oh, whatever, it's not going to work, it's paused right now, it's taking too long, and you don't apply, then guess what? Say a little over 2 years, it gets lifted. The pause gets lifted, but now you are out of options because you didn't apply, so you didn't meet the deadline. That's an example. Same with your children. If you have a 20-year-old right now, you're a US citizen, you have a 20-year-old that you want to sponsor, but you're a part of one of the your child is a citizen of one of the 75 countries, and you're like, oh, no use. It's going to take too long. The pause is in place. I can't apply. A lot of people mistake this for saying that they cannot apply for the benefit, and you make that decision not to apply for your 20-year-old as a U.S. citizen, right? And then the pause gets lifted. But by the time the pause gets lifted, now your child is 21. Now you can't apply for them as an immediate relative to get a faster process. So, apply basically, but make sure you qualify, of course, and that's where you're going to give us a call, talk to us, and we can then evaluate whether you qualify and then get a move on it. But just keep that in mind going forward. Someone was interviewed for an I-751 and N-400 same day. They requested more evidence, and it has been long sent, and his case is still pending for 290 days. His wife is filing for divorce. What should he do? The waiver. You need to apply for a waiver. Give us a call. That's what we do. We've done it successfully. Give us a call so we can talk. For a Nigerian who is in the US and has two options, which are to proceed with PhD and was also selected in the H-1B lottery and will have to do a change of status from F1 to H-1B, what do you recommend? So this is too specific. It definitely would have to speak in an appointment. I don't want to make any recommendations without fully understanding what's going on. in the process. And then also make sure you're communicating with the employer since you've been selected for the H-1B as well. Um, Someone was interviewed for, okay, so I entered that. I applied for a US visitor's visa from Jamaica for my mom. She was denied 3 times before because I didn't let she tell them she have an immediate family here, which is me. But now since I got my green card, so you wouldn't be able to sponsor your parent on a green card. I applied for her using my name and address, have 2-year conditional green card. Will she get the visa? No. Ironically, when they see that you have the green card and she's coming to see you, they may be weighing, they're weighing her ties to Jamaica versus her ties to the United States. And if, for example, she doesn't have much in Jamaica, but then she has you as a relative now in the United States, that could possibly go against her for the visa. The visa isn't necessarily about who's inviting them to come to the US, it's about do they have strong ties to their home country that would compel them to return to their country after a short visit to the United States. So that's going to be property, that's going to be other relatives, spouse, maybe more children, grandchildren, a job, a business, a house, other property. It's going to be those things that will matter the most to get a visitor's visa. Will it go faster if you put in your paperwork if they use a lawyer or themselves? I think I answered this. The lawyer, the thing with it is, so one thing one theme that I see often where somebody's case has been delayed unnecessarily is they do it themselves. They didn't know what they were doing. They filed it incorrectly. They did something incorrectly. They put something down incorrectly, and then it turns into a whole mess, right? And that is where and then now they're scrambling to try to fix it because now they got a request for evidence or a notice of intent to deny. So now they're rushing to try to get an attorney in time to reply to a very robust, intimidating request for evidence or notice of intent to deny, right? That's usually the last chance before a denial you could get an approval, because we've done this where we've gotten a notice of intent to deny, we've gotten a request for evidence, and we've turned it around. In the past year, because this is what's most common now, are these types of correspondences. The thing about it is some of it requires actual legal research and application of laws and statutes and case law. And those are things that the attorneys do, right? So now they're in a situation where they're scrambling to find an attorney to do it quickly. And because of that, they don't, it just becomes a very stressful, messy situation. So having an attorney from the start can, one, avoid those kind of mistakes that can create delays, and two, can make it go faster in that even if you get a request for evidence, the attorney already knows your case and it, can reply. It with our the way we do cases is we include requests for evidence in our fees, the possibility of request for evidence, because we manage the whole case. Thanks so much. 14.4K likes on TikTok. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm a lawyer in the United States. Yes. I-130 approved by officer and received I-94. Do I have to do another interview when I apply for the green card? You may have to do it. Can I please have your number? So I'm going to put the number here. If you call right now, you're going to speak to staff, and they will go ahead and talk with you about it. Do they still give up work permits under asylum? So the work permits are still available, but they are working to change it. from a 6 month wait time to a year wait time, which can be devastating for people who are coming here. They are coming here for safety and stability, and then they have to wait a year without work at risk before they can get the work permit. So that can be devastating. All right. I am on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks so much for waiting, everybody. Let me see. I'm waiting AOS through USC spouse and I'm post J1 hardship. Can I apply for O1 and change status within the US? So if it sounds like you have the 2-year foreign residency requirement and you can't change status from J1 to O1 with that tag, you'd have to have a waiver. Where do I type my questions? Where you just typed your sentence. So where you just type, where do I type my question? Type your question. I have a green card. It's been issued for 10 years. I am afraid to leave the country because before I obtained my green card, I got misdemeanor and paid all. Judge asked me to do that. So was this disclosed? You need to make sure it was disclosed at the green card interview. Get in touch with us if it was disclosed at the green card interview and on your application, you should be fine. Where they don't like it's if they find it and it wasn't disclosed on your application, that's where you can face big problems. Hello, Michael. Good night. My question is, if a case is at the NVC and priority date is December 2019 in the category F2B, at what point will NVC message the petitioner or applicant to submit police certificate? So this is going to be at the point your priority date is current. So you don't understand the National Visa Bulletin. So the which one is for the NVC? So usually it's where it discusses the fact that it's ready for the chart that says ready for filing. I think ready for filing or something similar to that. What's going on with consular processing timeline? Why is there a pause? They have claimed that there is a pause for immigrant visas because of abuse of the public benefits system here in the US. And so they have to revamp the public charge regulations and rules, which, after the pause, we might be seeing a hellish situation regarding more public charge rules. So we have to see. Friend wife for over 7 years, but separated for over 6 months. The wife moved out. Interview 485 just happened during separation. I-130 approved long time. Therapy is on the officer informed, not approved. So I'm not sure what happened here. Then the immigrant spouse can give us a call and get legal advice. The officer's concern isn't if they see you separated, they are likely going to start to deny the case that's where switching to VAWA is going to have to be a real consideration here. Do you expect 75 country visa pause to be lifted in a few months? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if it's going to be in a few months. If someone overstayed visa and volunteer self-deportation, is there any waiver they can apply for to leave and come back? They have 10-year-old US citizen child with ADHD. Give us a call. This is very specific. There may be waivers, but you have to be very strategic about this and to fully understand what's in store. If not approved, should I look for you? Yeah, definitely give us a call. I would say yes. If we'd want to talk to you more about the separation and what happened to determine whether you have alternative options. So, do you file for VAWA after denial? Yes, we have. We filed and won a case like that where they went to the interview. The spouse, said all sorts of false things to the officers, withdrew his I 130, and then as a result, they denied the I 45. And our client still prevailed because the spouse was mistreating her. Um, All right, let me see any more questions. Is there a pause on the K1 visa? No, K1 visa is a non-immigrant visa, so there shouldn't be a pause on it. Good evening. I submit an I-130 for my kids since 2024, but I don't have answer how long is going to happen. So it's depends on the case processing times. Go check the case processing times for the I-130 at the USCIS.gov. You can always call them as well and track it to make sure everything is good. Everything is going. One of the most common issues I see is you didn't update the address or wrong address, and that can be a problem. So just make sure that nothing went out to the wrong address or got lost in the mail. My son filed I-130 for me, but he has a disability. So I suppose it just depends what kind of disability. Just because he has a disability does not mean that they would disregard him as a petitioner. If he has knowledge and the ability to make that decision to file for you, then it's still feasible. So I'd have to understand what the full worry here is. Is there a pause on the I-130 visa? There is a pause on the immigrant visa. And I want to be very specific about that. That the I-130 visa is not what we want to call it, because now people will stop filing I-130 petitions. I-130 petition has to be submitted first. Once it's approved, it goes to the embassy, and then the embassy processes it for the immigrant visa. They're two-step process. So you should still be moving forward with your I-130 petitions. It's if the pause is still in place, you'd be placed on hold until the pause is lifted. But you must go through that. So it's not an I-130 visa, it's an immigrant visa that the pause is on. There's no pause on an I-130 petition. What should a person who's unauthorized to work but work do when preparing to go for the marriage interview? Do not lie. Ironically, here's what happens, and it's so unnecessary. So people think that they will be penalized if they admit that they have worked without authorization. If they are married to a U.S. citizen, and or even the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, they still assume that that's going to be held against them. So they go in, they tell this lie, and that is going to increase the likelihood that they could be accused of misrepresentation or fraud. Now, the rule is that they cannot just directly deny your application because you worked without authorization if you are the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. So, for example, if you are the spouse of a U.S. citizen, they don't hold that against you, but they will hold it against you if they find that you've told a lie about it when it didn't really have a consequence in the first place. But now you've told a lie thinking it's going to give you a benefit, then they can accuse you of misrepresentation or fraud. And keep in mind, misrepresentation or fraud comes with a lifetime bar. So, what should you do? Tell the truth. But keep in mind, they are looking at fraud from different angles. They're really parsing out facts here. So, for example, working without a permit, if you came into the country and you came with the intention to work, that once again can raise some issues. So it's all about just understanding the risk and how to approach it. What should a person who's okay? So I answered that. But this is where I said this is not personalized legal advice. When it comes to strategic approaches like this, it's important to have your attorney. You can always give us a call and talk to us. I would say if you're looking at a question, you're really struggling with how to answer that question, it's time to call an attorney and get that done by the attorney. If somebody already had a fingerprint April 22nd, 2026, they still would have to get a new fingerprint. No, it's unlikely that you'd have to do another fingerprint. Okay. Do they look at social media platforms in the marriage interviews? Yes. Not necessarily during the interviews. That's where they may ask you questions, but they are doing extreme vetting right now. So they're looking at political views, political statements, focusing on anti-Semitic rhetoric. That's what they've said, and they're looking at social media platforms to see if they can find anything like that. That's going to come during the vetting process, likely before the interview. But if they find something, sometimes they will confront you with it at the interview. If you are removing your condition, do you have to do another biometrics? As in some cases, most cases, yes, you have to do a biometrics again. Um, What about the embassy of US in Saudi? Are temporary closed? What update regarding the openings? I don't have any updates for you then. You'd have checked the website of the embassy in that country and you'll be able to see updates there. Who are the categories who need to redo biometrics? So not necessarily any categories, but if they deem that an individual needs to redo it for one reason or the other, they're gonna call that individual. But it's not like in categories. Uh, Need advice, please. I've been in the US since 2 years and married since more than 6 months, but my spouse is taking all his time to file for me. What can I do? I want to hear more. Usually that's a red flag, but I want to hear more to understand whether you do have alternative options, and it's a good time to call, schedule, and talk to us about it so you can make some decisions for yourself. How long does VAWA take to get the green card? Go to uscis.gov, look at the I-360 form. You'll see how long it takes for them to make a decision on the VAWA. Usually, right after they approve the VAWA, then they process it, the I-485. Good evening. Okay, so I answered that. All right. Good night. If filing started and my grandma just passed, would it still go through? If she just filed and passed, unfortunately, that petition dies with the petitioner, unfortunately. And my condolences. Chances of VAWA approval with removal order. So this becomes a complicated case. It's still approvable, of course, because they have VAWA even in removal, but you have to take care of the removal order as well. So that's probably going to be a motion to reopen issue first, and then trying to the if it gets reopened, then usually they will watch for a VAWA approval. Once the VAWA approval is in, then the judge will either determine to grant the benefit themselves through a VAWA cancellation of removal, or go ahead and give the terminate, so you can process the rest of your case, the adjustment of status through USCIS. So it just depends on what strategy you choose at that point. How long does the I-129 take? My husband filed for me and my son in. Go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times link, and then you'll see it there. I got a NOR. So it's a notice of intent to revoke for fraud, misrepresentation a day after my I-485 approval. Oh my gosh, you do know a NOR is not the final decision. It's a notice of intent to revoke, which means that they are still giving you a chance to turn it around. So this is where having an attorney on board who can make an effective argument on your behalf, if that's something that's valid, can turn things around. But this is where I say it's very stressful, because now hopefully you have an attorney, but if you don't, right now we are busy, guys. We're very busy, and things are getting a lot more complicated. So this is where you start with an attorney, start your process with an attorney, because it's getting harder and harder to get in touch. As I said, my schedule is filling up, so make sure you're calling and scheduling now. I filed I-130 since last year, June, and not yet approved. My question is, how long will it take? So anything to do with case processing time, please go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times, and find the form that you filed, and you'll see the length of time there. So I see now they have to get money from my bank account. It's been 5 days, they didn't pull. So sometimes if they haven't pulled the money, it means that it's not officially filed. Usually if I see them pulling the money from the account, it means that, okay, they accepted it and it's moving forward. Is there already 2 motion to reopen denied, VAWA pending, chances of approval? So this is a complicated situation for sure. And the thing is, even with a VAWA pending, maybe with a VAWA approval, it might be a different thing. But with a removal order, you're definitely in a situation on borrowed time here in the U.S. because you're a target with a removal order. All right. I'm on Instagram. All right, I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So if you did the I-290B appeal, do you have to do the biometrics over? Not necessarily. What's the best way to expedite work permit on a marriage-based green card? It really depends on if you have an emergency, humanitarian crisis going on. If you've, you're going to have a severe loss of income, or a business that wants to hire you is going to suffer as severe income loss as a result of you not having the work permit. Those are things that you can also bring to them. The I-360 VAWA application will be adjudicated if biometrics has been done before April. So applications were not going through the FBI background check. So all applications that didn't go through the background check before April 27th now has to do it. So those will be turned around. Nowadays, I-765 under C09 VAWA, so that's a category of the card. To delay, any idea how many months it takes to approve? Go to uscis.gov, go to I-765, find the processing times there. All right. Okay. That's gonna be it for me. Is there a pause on the T visa process? No, it's continuing. We just received a bunch of work permits from the T visa, 4-year work permits. Who are the categories who need to redo? So I answered that. All right. That's gonna be it for me. Thanks you so much. And I believe we hit a record 25.4K likes on TikTok, and I'm seeing, oh gosh, a number of questions. So I filed my I-751, and now my husband is saying he's going to mess me up if I get the interview. What can I do? This is a great question. Now, one, your husband is telling you that, believe them. I've seen it happen time and time again. And I just released a video about it, about the spouses threatening, and then you still take them to the interview and they do exactly what they told you they were going to do. So in this case, you need to explore applying for a waiver if you're being, in this case, you're being mistreated. You're being, clearly no spouse who is treating you well is going to threaten you like that. So give us a call and let's talk in a confidential appointment about the possibilities of moving forward with a waiver. Because believe, if they're saying that they will do this to you, they will do it to you. Uh, I got 1-year work permit, DMV, only give 4 months. Yeah, I'm not sure why. So if you got a 1-year work permit, um, I wouldn't. That's strange. They usually give you for the time for the work permit. All right, I have a green card. It's been issued for 10 years. I am afraid to leave. Let me see, leave the country because before I obtained my green card, I got a misdemeanor and paid all judge asked me to do, even do that. So if you're afraid, definitely give us a call and talk to us, and we can advise you about, what the risks are. How do we get the work permit in the US? I'm from Fiji. If you're outside of the US, the work permit is not going to be for you. You're going to be looking at a visa. If you're in the US, then give us a call and let's talk. All right. Thanks, guys, for your time. I'm going to be heading out and I will see you tomorrow. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your questions. And remember, if you want now is the time to take action. Go ahead, give us a call and then schedule time so we can talk because that's where we're going to find the solution that's going to work for you. All right. Have a good night. Bye bye.